Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here with us because honestly, today we are unpacking something truly transformative. We're going to be looking at the ultimate creator's blueprint. We'll be exploring exactly how you can take incredibly complex, sometimes dry facts and turn them into deeply engaging, cinematic educational content. Seriously, if you've ever watched those top-tier sources and wondered how they manage to capture your attention and make learning feel so effortless and fascinating, well, you are in the exact right place. We are going to map out that entire journey for you step by step.
Now you might be wondering, what's the end game here? Well, the ultimate goal of modern educational content can basically be summed up in a single powerful phrase: become a member of the family. It sounds incredibly simple, right? But I really want you to hold on to this philosophy because this is the Holy Grail. When you're out there presenting information, you absolutely do not want to just be some distant, boring lecturer. You want the viewer to feel this genuine warmth and connection, exactly as if they were learning from a trusted relative sitting right across the table. Everything we are about to cover today is engineered specifically to help you build that profound level of trust and psychological engagement with your audience.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. First, we'll start with cultivating true knowledge sense. Then we'll move right into the power of simplification. After that, we'll explore cinematic visuals through AI, look closely at radical authenticity on camera, and finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up with tools for structured learning.
All right, step 1, cultivating true knowledge sense. This is really the essential foundation of ideation. So, to emulate the highly successful style of top-tier creators, you absolutely must start with the right intellectual foundation. But what exactly is knowledge sense? Well, simply put, it is the ability to recognize how raw facts actually become useful knowledge. This is your essential first filter for translating information into real educational content. You see, a list of facts is, well, it's just data. But when you apply this sense, you're actively finding the narrative, the deeper context, and the actual meaning behind those facts. You are literally turning them into something the human brain can digest, store, and most importantly, utilize.
And this right here is the critical divide between pure clarity and a tangled mess of misinformation. Because if you're really going to be that trusted family member to your audience, your internal radar has to be absolutely flawless. Knowledge sense ensures that the foundation of your content is built on rock-solid, verifiable science. It allows you to effectively filter out all the noise and the non-science long before it ever reaches your viewer. And doing that protects their cognitive load and massively builds your authority.
Moving on to Section 2, the power of simplification. This is all about how we translate for the audience.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next phase. Now that we have a verifiable foundation, we move into scripting. The core mission here is to explain complex ideas, facts, and everyday questions so that absolutely anyone can understand them. This translation process happens in 3 distinct, easy-to-follow steps. First, you start with a highly complex psychological or scientific concept. Second, you translate that concept using simple, everyday words. And third, you deliver a practical insight. It's a straight line from complex to practical. You aren't dumbing the information down at all. You're acting as a translator, distilling high-level science into immediate value that your viewers can take and apply to their daily lives.
All right, Section 3, cinematic visuals through AI. Let's talk about elevating the look of your content. So, with a beautifully simplified script in your hands, you now need visuals that absolutely refuse to let the audience look away. For a truly cinematic look, the source material points us directly to advanced AI video models, specifically technology like Seedance 2.0. If you really want your educational content to have a highly professional, film-like appearance, the kind that totally rivals high-budget productions without needing a massive crew, this is exactly the kind of technology you must leverage. It's a real game changer.
But what makes Seedance 2.0 so disruptive? Well, it's all about its specific capabilities. It doesn't just generate static, lifeless images. It offers realistic and cinematic generation that breathes actual life into your script. Plus, it boasts multi-shot capabilities. This means it gives you different angles and perspectives, just like a real film director would use to completely control pacing and tension. And honestly, perhaps most impressively, it incorporates realistic physics. The world you generate actually behaves like the real world, ensuring your visual narrative is incredibly dynamic and entirely believable. No floaty, weird AI artifacts here.
Which brings us to Section 4, radical authenticity on camera. Let's dig into the persona.
So the crucial point is this: beautiful visuals and a simplified script are essentially nothing without the right delivery. Even with the most advanced AI visuals in the world, the human element remains your absolute anchor. And the mandate from the very top of the industry is incredibly clear: Be genuine and be yourself. This isn't just fluffy feel-good advice, you guys. This is a direct directive from the CEO of YouTube. The platform's leadership is explicitly stating that true authenticity is the ultimate metric for building a real connection.
You really have to navigate a stark contrast in today's creator economy. You can either be a copy-paste creator, just mimicking the styles, the cadences, and the jokes of already successful channels, or you can lean entirely into your own unique personality. You need to avoid that imitation trap at all costs. Bringing your genuine, messy, real self to the screen is literally the only way to foster that warm, relatable connection we discussed at the very beginning of this journey. You simply cannot fake familial warmth through imitation. It has to come from who you actually are.
Finally, Section 5, Tools for Structured Learning. This is where we look at the behind-the-scenes process.
So look, when you are out there teaching a skill or mapping out a really complex process, it is absolutely vital to be entirely transparent with your audience about how you navigate that learning yourself. The sources highlight some very specific practical tools to help structure this transparency. For instance, you might use Notion for the meticulous planning of your content and ideas, right alongside Toggle for the precise time tracking of your progress. By openly utilizing structural tools like these, you aren't just claiming to be an expert. You are actively demonstrating the tangible reality of your organization and your intellectual journey. Because here's the thing, you must actively show the behind the scenes of your intellectual growth. This level of transparency matters immensely to the modern viewer. When you pull back the curtain and reveal your planning boards and your time trackers, you build incredible trust. It proves the practical value of the journey you just took them on. It shows that you are a dedicated student of the process right alongside them. It takes all that abstract advice and turns it into actionable, undeniable proof.
And guys, that brings us to the end of our blueprint. We've traced the whole path, right? From foundational knowledge sense through simplification and amazing AI visuals, all the way to radical authenticity and structured transparency. So I'm going to leave you with this final important question to think about. What complex truth will you simplify today? I really challenge you to take this structured blueprint and immediately apply it to your own creative endeavors. Start turning dry facts into a real cinematic connection. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what you create out there.